That hurt me even more.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you really could have done about that. I mean, other than maybe have not, drank that night. But I mean, we're human beings. We need to have fun, and maybe that's not the most constructive way. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it to you like this: you are already 34-0. You know what I mean? You probably would have won the heavyweight title of the world. If you didn't, you could have climbed back and maybe done it right. But I think more importantly, you showed your toughness and your willpower by basically getting murdered and coming back, and here you are.
Yeah.
Not many people can go through with that.
No, it's such a mental. People usually are, there's been guys that had similar things have happened to them and they folded.
Yeah.
And with me, I had to finish the game, dude. Have you ever seen that movie Young Guns?
Yes.
No, Billy the Kid, and he's Emilio Estevez, he goes, "You must finish the game." And I swear, dude, when he said that, that's one of my favorite quotes in the movie. You must finish the game. And I had to finish the game. And however it ended, it ended. However it played out, it was going to play out. So I went back in there and I lost. I came back for another fight. I lost again, which is unheard of. And then the third time I came back and knocked that guy out. And I threw out my back and had back surgery. And then I knew at that moment, when that happened, when I needed back surgery, getting in the hospital after the third fight, and I won the last fight, I knew it was over. I knew it was like, it's done. God does not want me doing this anymore. For whatever reason, this is not my calling anymore. He blessed me enough to have my last win and empty it to save face, to leave the sport saving face. And I did that, and I hung up the gloves, and I said, that's it. And it hurt me more. It was like a death. Like, I swear to God, bro, like, it felt like half of my whole identity was murdered. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was going to do. It felt like I was stranded in the darkest part of the ocean with no compass and still waters. I mean, it was the most. But I still have faith in God, so I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just kept the faith,
So let me ask you a question, man. I thank you for the insight there. The people that have helped you in life, in the times we really needed it, when you're depressed, you want to give up, you want to quit, how many of those people, maybe it was all of them, how many of those people were believers in God?
Weren't or were?
Were.
All of them.
All of them? No matter how much they sin or not, they were believers in God, right?
It doesn't matter how much. If you sin, we all sin, bro.
Exactly.
A lot of people that are Christians are the quickest ones, and that's what gives Christianity a bad rap, is that they're quick to judge. But if you don't live by this verse or that verse, you're going to hell. You got to be perfect. Get out of here, dude. I know I'm blessed by God, and I'm good to go, man. I have a good relationship with God, so nobody can tell me how my relationship is. Everyone has their own unique relationship.
Exactly. So my podcast, broadcast, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know if this is an official podcast because it's video. Is it podcast or radio?
It's gonna go, baby. It's gonna go.
So here's my point. I'm not going to sit here and talk about myself. We could talk about it another time. Maybe I'll come on your episode and talk about it and relate to you. But I will say this. The people in my life that have helped me when I felt like I was 6 feet in the grave and all I needed to do was have the dirt put down, I would say 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, were believers in God. And and they would always tell me the same thing. Just got to believe in God, man. Pray, pray, pray. And I have a very similar story. I mean, the reason why I'm in California, married with 2 kids and doing this right now is because of a prayer. It literally was answered within 5 minutes.
I always thought like God was always punishing me, right? Like I always thought like, well, it's just another lesson from God. I never really paid him any tribute to when he answered prayers. But then again, I look back and I think, wait a second. Twice I almost died in a year. And I flatlined both times, and I was brought back, and then he answered some prayers for me, and not just from that, but other things I've asked for. He answered 2 really miraculous prayers, and I'll never turn my back on God, man. No matter how rough life gets, I'm just not that guy. I'll give me leprosy, dude. I'll still worship God. I'll still have faith in God.
Yeah. So I want to say something about God and about the way you think. So I know in your mind you still have unfinished business, and that's what many people consider what ghosts are. Ghosts have unfinished business, souls that feel unaccomplished. But
Yeah.
but really is, I don't think it's God punishing you. What I think it is that, for every action there is an equal opposite reaction. I think you went through what you went through simply because it happened. Somebody chose to do that to you. You were where you chose to be where you were in that same moment, and that happened. But that doesn't mean that God's spirit wasn't flowing through you to make it through that. And what I want to say is that the way you perceive yourself, the way I perceive myself, the way other people perceive themselves, is, and many times, the problem. You have this expectation for yourself that you want to hit. But take a guy like Mike Tyson. He hit that at age 19. Where did he go from there?
Down. Yeah.
And he was far away from God.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you inherit or work for that much, you get that much fame so young. I mean, it's usually not a good thing, man. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you do when you have millions of dollars in the bank and you're 19, 20 years old, and you got everything you could ever dream or wish for at your hands, at your feet? I mean, that's not going to turn out very good. You know what I mean? For the most part. And so, although I never got that kind of money, but I was on my way and I was trying to get paid better, and I was starting to feel that invincibility, but at the same time, starting to believe my own bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
your ego.
Starting to read my own newspaper clips.
I firmly believe, David, that the ego is satanic. That it's evil. It's the opposite of good. And people that say good and bad is subjective, I want to always slap them. Not to be a jerk, but I want to slap them and say, how does that feel? Oh, doesn't feel good, right? Exactly, because that wasn't respectful. It wasn't loving. It wasn't good. You know what I mean?
Right.
You feed somebody who's starving, you're doing good. I don't care what your belief is. I don't care if you're an atheist. You go up and spit on somebody who's starving and say, F you, earn your own food. You're a scavenger. You're a waste of life. You are literally the epitome of evil in that moment, right?
Yeah.
So when we start, like you said, believing in our own crap, when we're gaining power, we're becoming more powerful, and we're taking it in here, and we're building that up, we're setting ourselves up for a bigger fall, like you said. Like, you got to give that to God, and people.
Pride comes before the fall.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is very actually hard to justify fighting, in my opinion, to God. But there's ways I think you can do it. And I just want to say that, your name's David, and the Goliath that you're facing seems to be inside of you. And maybe that Goliath inside of you is the reason why you ended up the way you ended up, to choose your path to go that way. And like I said, you didn't do that to yourself. But for every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. And I always throw out scientific statements and facts, because whenever I talk about spirituality, I always want to challenge those science gurus that want to try to discredit what I'm saying. And in fact, when I talk about God and when I talk about spirituality, I actually get very scientific. And that's a whole other subject.
I think it goes hand in hand. How can it not? It's hand in hand.
Goes hand in hand.
I love quantum physics, dude. I've read a book on it. I'm very big on energy, frequencies, vibration. All of that is from God. So, and it equates to God. It's God's math. It's God's voice. It's God's tools, and God's language. I guess you could say language.
Yeah.
So, to me, I mean, that just that doesn't take away from God. It adds to God. It kind of defines God. It's kind of just a little bit a practical of what He's about.
Just because human beings can explain what God has created in a different way or a different format doesn't disprove God. It actually adds to it, just like you said.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of us making God commands Him, when really He's so much more complicated. We would not be able to comprehend any of it if it wasn't so simplified. You know what I mean? It needs to be simplified for human beings. Nobody can comprehend God. And if we did, we'd probably burn up. Like, we just boom would blow because it's just too much effort. It's crazy to think about it.
Well, we're definitely going to talk again, and we can definitely focus on God as another subject for another time. Because you could talk about God eternally. He's in everything. God is in everything. God is in all. But let's talk about 9/11. It is 9/11. It's 9/11, 2017. How many years has it been? 16?
16.
16?
15.
15?
It's been 16, yeah. That's right, it's 2007. Where am I? Damn, yeah, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, I like to give respect to all the people out there that are dealing with this in their own way and things of that nature. I have my beliefs on what happened. I question a lot. I think a lot of questions are raised. And I think we need to get the truth of it, but without hurting the victims or showing any kind of insensitivity to them. Because I know it's a very hurtful topic for a lot of people, because a lot of people lost lives and lost family members, and but it still remains. We have to hold somebody accountable for that, and I think just Bin Laden was a small part of the puzzle.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I never cared for politics, and I don't label myself anything. And with this past election, I was pulled to the right very easily, because I didn't want the left to win. I didn't want Hillary Clinton to win, and I didn't like the type of people, the type of people that I experienced who liked her, I didn't agree with. Now, I meet people all the time, and we befriend each other, we respect each other, we're kind to each other, and then I find out that they call themselves a liberal, or they call themselves a leftist, or they consider themselves someone who doesn't like Trump. That doesn't make me not like them right away, right? And some people, I still respect after a while, and then some people start to show reasons why maybe why I shouldn't like them. But overall, I feel like if you question 9/11, many people on the right wing, many Republicans, consider you unpatriotic and actually get really offended by it. But what I find more offensive is that if 9/11 happened when Obama was a president, what do you think would have happened? The right wing, I think, would have been blaming him left and right.
100%.
If he sat,
I still can't believe that man was president. After all that happened, I can't believe he was ushered in as president. And I firmly believe presidents, for the most part, with the special interest backing them and having so much influence, they're selected, not elected.
yeah,
Trump was just a wild card. I feel like he just was a rogue president that came out and just came on the scene and just destroyed, like, unexpected for everybody. But for the most part, presidents, their little agenda with the deep state, they're selected. These guys are put in office. And I feel they're like chess pieces going to the end result to win the game. And I feel Trump just kind of like shit all over the chessboard. You know what I mean? And we're all backing him, like, dude, yeah, right on, bro. Like, where did this guy come from? And I don't know. Good punts and forward the champ. And that's how I look at it. Like, the underdog came up and boom, cracked him and he hit the floor.
I was ecstatic. I was ecstatic.
That's how I look at it. Like, how can you not go for that?
I remember I sat up all night watching that, and I had a Bible in one hand, and I had a Snapchat filter on me that turned my face into a red elephant. And I had a little Donald Trump coming in on a parachute over my shoulder, like coming out.
That's awesome.
That was a fun moment in time.
Speaking of Trump, and I'm here in the studio right now with Joe Big. So let my buddy Joe Big say hi real quick. Let him pop in real quick. Hey Joe, this is my buddy. Yeah, everyone knows Joe Big.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, Joe?
Award, big guy out in the alternative media. So we teamed up to do Road Right, liberty1tv.com. So just wanted him to say hi. Maybe you can get him on the podcast soon as well.
Oh, don't get me wrong. When we're done here, I want you
to talk with him.
When we're done here, anything you want me to share, links, I'm gonna put them all to this video. We're gonna rep you guys as much as we can because hey.
Yeah, put liberty1tv.com Road Right and promo code Rogue.
Promo code Rogue, okay. I'm writing a lot of things down as we go along. So, going back to the 9/11, there's so many questions. There's just so many questions that are involved, and I want to focus on the main ones. Let's talk common sense here. You don't need to be an idiot I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to ask these simple questions. So you got two buildings side by side, South Tower, North Tower, right? Known as the Twin Towers. And then you have Building 7, which is how many? Is that a block away, 2 blocks away? How far away was Building 7?
That's about right.
Okay.
Many just have 5 on a few levels.
Yeah, many people question how that building fell down. I mean, that's obvious, right? That's like
that was that right there was the dead giveaway, dude, for me.
Yeah, but even with that, even if that never happened, the building that was hit with the airplane, how would that cause the building next to it, that's not attached to it, to fall down the same exact way?
Yeah, they came down just with Vegas for a long time, and it's the same demolition, dude, that I saw in Vegas when they knocked down hotels. It was the same exact way they go down. The same thing. Even when I watched it, I was like, wait a minute. I mean, I was probably one of the few people that watched it live going, whoa, dude. I remember seeing Vegas going down like that. And I remember thinking that. Well, I wasn't putting it all together, but I was like, okay, that's a little suspicious. And I remember thinking to myself that day, like, man, they went down just like I saw in Vegas. And then boom, 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 all the conspiracy started coming out, and then all the evidence, and then the whole 9/11 conspiracy was born, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I had 2 Marines I talked to today. One was an ex-Marine, and he was in demolition. And he explained to me how there's just no way that was not done intentionally. But then when I talked to the other Marine, he told me the buildings were actually designed that way to go level by level in case they ever were hit, so they wouldn't hurt anybody else.
The beams would still be up. If it was pancake theory, that means the levels would have fell and the beams would still be holding up. So that theory's out the window. He's wrong. The levels would have fell on each other, and then the supporting beams would have still been up in the middle. They've already dismissed that theory. So there's no.
Yeah.
It's very obvious to me. You watch enough videos, there's enough videos to show even firemen talking about something going off in the basement.
Yeah, we interviewed guys.
Joe interviewed guys in New York.
Actual firefighters, first responders, said it was like molten lava coming out.
Molten lava coming out through like gutters.
So the residue they found in the buildings, if the Zeitgeist documentary I watched was true, if these facts are true, that residue was only originating from a type of bomb material that the U.S. military only had hands on. They invented it. They were the only ones that had their hands on. What was it called? Thermite. Okay. So with that being said, didn't they do a test like 2 weeks or 2 days before the accident that happened just like that?
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know about NORAD as well, was flying practice runs that day, deliberately confusing pilots to on the exercises of terrorists hijacking planes, and they were running exercises to do that. That's why the pilots had no idea what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, and the side of the Pentagon that was hit, Joe just said, was empty just before, and I can actually attest to that because I have a buddy that knew somebody that was working there that said that section of the Pentagon was actually under construction for like 6 months.
It was being reconstructed before a plane hit.
Reconstructed, strengthened before a plane hit.
Not a single person was hurt.
There's so much, huh?
Not a single person in the Pentagon was hurt, right?
No,
because they cleared everybody out of that area.
Exactly.
They cleared everybody that particular area, and then there's people that say they didn't even see a plane. You know how the plane would have to maneuver through all the street lights and everything to go through and hit that building where it was hit? I mean, it just, none of it makes sense, man.
Yeah.
None of this holds water, man, just for logical thought.
Yeah. So my American pride has nothing to do with politics. My American pride comes from the military first and foremost. You know, I have a lot of people in the military from my family. I was gonna go and then I got hurt and they wouldn't clear me. With having said that, my brother, he's in Pendleton right now, Camp Pendleton out here, 30 minutes from me, and he's fucking. That guy's got a like a big ego. When he goes overseas, if he does, I think he's gonna hurt somebody. But not to bring that up. Not to bring that up. My point about this is, we only know so much, and I back that flag 100% because I back the people who are fighting. They sign up for the military, and they're told what to do at the end of the day. And one of the reasons why I hate politicians because those pieces of you-know-what are the weakest, most cowardly, corrupt slime balls in suits who are running this country. And they're talking down on people like you, people like Joe, people like my brother, people like the Marines I was just talking about, and they dictate everything. And you know what?
Yeah.
Not to bring up white privilege, but a lot of these elitists at the top that we don't see, like the Rockefellers, the Soros, the Rothschilds, they are white. And they have all this wealth and they have all this dominance and they're trying to manipulate us every which way. And so when we're talking about a 9/11 conspiracy, it sucks that we have to consider that our own government was a part of that. You know what I mean?
People that infiltrated our government, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, people that infiltrated our government. We're not talking about the powdered wigs that started this government. You know what I'm saying? So.
And you think about it more and more, and when these elitists that they're, like you said, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. I mean, there's they manipulate and control the media so much so that it's called I forgot the name of it. It's Helian effect or something like that. It's called problem reaction solution, where they create the problem, give the desired reaction, and then have the foregone solution. So it's an equation that works. So they create the problem knowing the solution they want, and all they have to do is get the desired reaction or triggered response in which they're gearing for. So they create the problem, getting the desired reaction from the public with having the solution. Yeah. What is it called? Hegelian dialect.
I thought you said alien. I was like, that would have made sense.
Hegelian.
Hegelian dialect.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Okay. So.
Hegelian. And I'm wearing glasses. I still can't see it. Hegelian.
So now we're talking about politics, right? You guys are. You call yourselves Republicans, right wing. You guys explain. I don't even want to try to elaborate.
Hold on, let me get
Joe Biggs, everyone.
I would consider myself more of a American.
Bam.
I take Republican because I don't believe in everything the Republicans do. I don't believe in everything conservatives do. I don't believe in everything libertarians do, and I'm definitely not alt-right. So I'm kind of just like the James Dean of the right. I take little bits of stuff here and there, but I do my own thing at the end of the day. And I'm not beholden to a label or to a group. Libertarians are, very anti-war. I'm not anti-war. I'm definitely going in for free and kicking some Kim Jong-un ass.
Saving some dogs.
As a soldier who served, 4 years of hard combat, multiple Purple Hearts, and killed a lot of fucking people, I have no issue with taking the fight to the enemy at all whatsoever. With Republicans, I don't like a lot of the public, asset forfeiture. There's a lot of things I don't like about different ones, so I kind of find myself rogue in my own thing. So I kind of agree with some of the things, and I disagree with a lot of the things. So.
Well, I like that because I consider myself the same way. I don't want to follow anybody's lead. If I have to question you, I don't trust you. You know what I mean? Any kind of. If you're gonna be my leader, get the questions out of the way. Let's get them out of the way right away. I want to know what your main mission is. I want to know who you are. You know what I mean? And if I can't trust you, then I can't fight side by side with you. And
I would be the number one goal. I would. I'm not even know back or not. I could deal with it.
So
or if I was working with for the other opponent, I could do that.
Exactly. So I want to bring this up. I want you guys to talk about this because I was going to bring it up on my podcast last night, but I didn't. So extreme leftists versus extreme rightists. I want to bring this up real quick. I want to make a blanket statement and see what you guys think about this. So I believe that Americans are 50%, the true Americans, the first Americans that actually started this country. I call them conservatives and liberals. Here's why. They liberated themselves from other tyrannical countries, and they made America what it is today, right? And then they had to establish the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights and all that, all the amendments. And what they did there is they set laws to conserve, to maintain those, right? Are we right? Are we following? So we're conservative and liberal. So when we take the word conservative and liberal, we use them together to be American. And now we have this divisiveness that separates the two. And I think that's funny because I don't fall for it. Because if you're a liberal and you claim tolerance, right? If you claim tolerance, that means that even if somebody is racist, you don't go punch them in the goddamn face because their opinion's different than yours. And I'm not condoning racism.
Yeah, that's a hypocrisy of this movement.
Well, but the thing is, though, there's like neo-liberal. Like, there's a classical liberal, which is you do you leave me alone. I don't care what you do. You don't. I don't. I don't bother you. You don't bother. Both go on or make patriotic and love there. That's kind of the original idea of liberals and progressive liberalism, which is what new liberal deal with. It's completely justified in my Bible because I disagree with you. And if I disagree with what you're saying, I have the right to use violence on you. You don't because you're racist, you're an Islamophobic, transphobic asshole, and you deserve to die.
Well, I watched a video of people shouting in your face. I don't know where you were, and I don't care where I was, but you had a lot of patience. And like you said, you were in the military. You've done your deeds there, right?
Once you've had people try to murder you and you've been blown up and I've been to hell and back. So when some little purple-haired punk gets in my face in tight jeans so tight that it's blocked and stopped the flow of testosterone naturally through his body, and his aspirations of being an adult or being a barista at Starbucks, I'm not really worried about what he's going to do. I just rather him get flustered, him get pissed off, and me sit back and expose the fact that ideologically he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
And what was I let them talk. I let them have the floor. I let them put the insert foot to mouth, and then I go back, do a video, and analyze and go, look, these are the guys that say they're tolerant. These are the guys that say they want equal rights for this and that. These are the guys who want blah blah blah. And then you go back and dissect it and you show how much hypocrisy there is. And you do it a calm way because as soon as you lose your cool, you automatically lose the high ground. One thing that I see the right do very well in a lot of areas is we let the left just run their mouths. And we'll sit there and we'll listen and we go back and we do our...
You dissect it.
Yeah, we dissect it on a video and we do it without any violence. 9 times out of 10. Whereas when you go and I spoke at a rally in Boston. I was one of the Nazis up on the gazebo, apparently, that everyone said was a Nazi there. Had 40,000 people showed up that wanted to kill me. Not one of them would even have an open dialogue. Not one of them wanted to have a conversation. Not one of them wanted to get to know who I was and understand that the person they thought I wasn't who I was. They lied to, but they didn't care because they were so angry, they're so enraged, and they heard Nazis were going to be there and they wanted to go kill them. I mean, who doesn't want to go kill Nazis? I got it. But they're not really prevalent in today's America. It's really a small percentage. Like the amount of transgenders in America, it's like 0.07 in today's society. That's about all you got in like neo-Nazis and like the KKK. It's not that many. It's a few dudes in Arkansas in the same trailer trying to kill the same guy. It's not this prevalent thing that's going on, but it's such an intense danger for some reason because MSNBC, CNN, and everybody pushes this narrative, and it's all using propaganda. It's the same playbook that Saul Alinsky used in Rules for Radicals. It's the same propaganda tactic that Edward Bernays talks about in this book called Propaganda. If you look at Media Control by Noam Chomsky, you do all these things, you start to really understand the breakdown of what's really going on and how you're being played. The thing is, though, is the left won't sit down and have that conversation and look at the facts and look at that proof, and then I don't know. I'd like to meet a liberal, a new liberal, a neo-liberal, a progressive liberal that's willing to sit down and actually have a conversation based on facts and not an emotion.
Oh, I'm going to bring them on here.
You got to remember, too, what Ronald Reagan said it best was like, when communism comes to America, it's going to be in the form of liberalism. That will be the new communism. It's going to be in the form of liberalism. That's the new communism. They're the PC Nazis.
All war is based on deception, man. How does a fighter who is not as skilled right there? How does a fighter, that's where I got it from, how is a fighter who is not as skilled or as strong or as athletic as the champ beat the champ? He's got to deceive him. Or he's got to catch the champ on a day where he's not his best, right? So
Yeah.
what I see from the left is a lot of emotion and not so much rationality. What I see on the average right guy is rationality and not so much emotion. Because if you did have emotion, a guy like Joe probably would have cracked some jaws that day. And I got to ask you, what would have you done if you were there in that situation, or how have you dealt with somebody in your face touching you over opinions?
To me or David?
David.
Oh, if someone would have touched me, I hit them. I mean, if they're gonna touch me, it's just.
But that's what I'm trying to teach them, though, is because in today's America, you can't do that, because now you're the new meme for the left. Now the left exploits, goes, see, all right people are like that. Everybody on the right is violent, they're aggressive, they're nasty, they're mean. Well, David Rodriguez isn't a racist. He's actually American. No. He plays that part. He's using that. He's really actually 51.3% white. So there's the white part's predominantly taken over the Hispanic side, and it's actually an institutionalized slavery going on in his chemistry within his body. The white particles are trying to beat the Hispanic particles, and I mean that's literally the kind of. And then they'll get like Neil deGrasse to come out with this whole fucking commercial or this whole video breakdown. Well, this is the struggle going on inside David Rodriguez's body. Well, what we found out from a sample of his blood that we took without him knowing in the middle of this was he has more whiteness than he does Hispanic.
So he hates himself.